And Fletcher Brown with another artist video blog at kicks96country.com. Our guest today is an American Idol finalist, Chase Likens. Welcome, Chase Likens, for the first time to Kicks 96 Country. How are you, Chase?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Fletch. I'm doing well.
All right. Now, this is your very, very first visit to Kicks 96.
Yeah.
But is it your first visit to Muscle Shoals?
It is, actually, yeah. It might even be my first visit to Alabama.
You're kidding.
Other than passing through one time in order to get to Disney World when I was 8 years old.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me think about this for a second. I got to Disney World by way of Alabama. There's a country song there waiting for Chase Likens to write it. Tell me I'm wrong. Went to Disney World by way of Alabama. All right. You're originally from West Virginia, is that right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, West Virginia, when we think West Virginia, we think like coal mines and good, whitewater rafting and fishing. And I mean, that's just what I've seen. I've never been to West Virginia. I've seen a lot of beautiful pictures of West Virginia. I've had some friends from there. Tell us about the Chase Likens growing up in West Virginia.
Well, it's a lot like what you'd probably imagine. There's, rural life, just like here from what I've seen.
Okay.
Grew up playing in creeks, exploring caves. I grew up probably not even 200 yards from a Shawnee cave.
Really?
Yeah. And the only reason I knew that is because once the state road came through and built a road in the path where my house once sat, they had to bring in a tribe of Shawnee Indians in order to bless the cave in order for them to build the road over it.
Okay. So like they weren't like protesting the cave or anything like that. They were just, but they were there to. So that's actually quite beautiful. The idea that all of our relationships with the Native American tribes in these areas they're not always antagonistic. Sometimes you see communities that come together, and that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Your childhood growing up in that environment, seeing those kinds of things and having those experiences, how would you say that those have fed into your musical creations?
Well, it gives you a lot of perspective on your sense of loss, I would say, because so much of my childhood was spent in that area, on that landscape. And so, when you feel a loss like that and you experience it, you're able to kind of take that and really manifest it into something that can be powerful.
Have you always been a musician? I mean, were you just born with a guitar?
I've always been a singer. I've not always been a guitar player.
Okay.
It's just something I started, and seeing Sam Phillips and his significance here kind of brought me back to what first got me into music, which was like a lot of people, Elvis. And that's kind of what I first started doing growing up, was singing Elvis songs in my kindergarten talent show.
Oh wow! Did your mom give you like the sequin robes and
no
all that? No,
it was more like the Canyon River Blues t-shirts and
yes,
and just whatever shorts,
I dig it. Yeah,
jean shorts I could find at the time.
Good.
Yeah, we didn't go all out in that way, but just from a singing standpoint, I tried to do Elvis covers. I think I sang Hound Dog for that. Yeah.
All right, so obviously, good music was fed into your love of music. Was it always country though? I mean, could it never have been anything else? Where you're just like, I'm country and that's it?
No, I don't think so. I think because Elvis wasn't always country, he kind of could do whatever he wanted because he was Elvis. But, for me, it started out with that type of rhythm and blues genre. And then we got into Diamond Rio and Brooks and Dunn. Yeah. And then I just kind of, because of where I come from and, our dialects and how we sound, it's just like, I don't know. And I mean, I'm an actor too, but if I'm being true to myself, I can't portray anything else other than what I feel is country.
Okay. All right. So now, did you move to Nashville before or after American Idol?
after.
Okay.
Yeah, well after. But when I auditioned for the show, it was at the Bridgestone Arena in Nashville.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, tell us, what year was that? Was it 2013, 14?
It's been a while back now. It's 2011. Actually.
Wow, was it 2011?
Yeah.
Gosh, has it been that? I mentioned actually to someone that you were coming to visit, and they said, "Was he on American Idol?" I said, "Yes, he was," but we couldn't remember the year.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it was more closer to like 2013, 2014. So it's been a minute since you were on American Idol. Who were the coaches at the time of the judges?
The judges then were J-Lo, Steven Tyler, and Randy Jackson.
Who was your favorite?
It's
okay to say Steven Tyler. He's my favorite.
He is my favorite, and it's because he was so real with me in the real life interactions we had. It was just kind of humbling to be that close to someone who's had the amount of success he has had, and to still be that down to earth.
Really, he was cool.
He was.
So would you say then that at the time, and this is one of those questions when you've got a person like you, very talented singer and songwriter and artist, who has gone through the experience of like one of these musical reality shows like American Idol or The Voice.
Yeah.
You always have to look at when that experience happened to you. Would you say that happened at the exact right time in your evolution as an artist, or would you say that you would like that to have happened a little later?
Well, it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
Because if you make it so far on that show, then you're tied down to or can be tied down to contracts within that show. And not everybody who wants to be successful and wins in that show goes on to be successful.
This is true.
So it's like you weigh the pros and cons of it. Do I feel that artistically I was ready at that time to win the show? If I look back on it, probably not.
Well, good to be honest, self-awareness.
Yeah, but I feel like I did a good enough job to get to the point where I was, but there was just, I had just turned 21.
Yeah.
So many, there's kids out there that are very talented at a very early age and have it honed in. I wasn't at that level. I was at the level of entertainer.
Yeah.
Yes. From an entertainment aspect, absolutely. I killed from that point of view, but from an, from the point of view factor where, you have to basically have perfect pitch, intonation, your phrasing, everything. I just wasn't a student of that at that point. I was just kind of going down the entertainment route. And that's what I got hooked up with management after that didn't end up working out. But, it's all for the best because I'm in the position I'm in now. So.
All right. So now when you got to Nashville, you actually ended up working with a very famous and very well-known producer in Nashville who's worked with a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. Yeah. Talk to us about that relationship and how that came about.
Well, so after American Idol, just to transition for you, I got approached by someone from Texas who wanted to manage me, and he was a mutual friend of Kevin
Beamish, by the way. That's the name of the producer. Anyway.
Yeah, he was a mutual friend of Kevin's, and so he helped me meet him. And once Kevin and I met, we immediately hit it off with him and his business partner and wife, Jessica. And even though things didn't work out with my previous management, it took us several years to get to a point where we could work, mutually, exclusively with one another. And, I think he helped produce one of the tracks that was on my first album that, obviously nobody knows about because it never went anywhere. But had it gone anywhere, that would have been the best, and still is, in my opinion, the best song off of that entire album. And just when we work together, it feels like magic to me.
All right. A lot of folks we don't think very often when you're just walking around. If we're in the industry, we do, but for you, a lot of you out there who are just music lovers and fans of artists, you don't always often think about the people who produce them. That might not even be something that's ever crossed your mind. But would you say that a good producer is can make the difference in kind of like a pass fail for your experience and the success of a project?
Well, yes, when you're speaking, very specifically about a project, absolutely. If you're speaking about the overall success of an artist, sometimes their talent can supersede whatever shortcomings that artist might have in relationship to a producer. But when you are as humbled because of I'm just so grateful that I'm was able to meet him and to have that connection, I think it just makes it that much more likely that you're bound to be somewhat successful.
Kevin Beamish, if you've not heard the name, he's worked with artists like Chesney, Reba, REO Speedwagon. He's pretty much run the gamut.
Yeah.
So as a country artist, obviously he's got the chops for that. What did you and he settle on for this project that you were just like, hey, this is the sound that we agree that we want, and you're happy obviously with the final product. So what was it that you two decided, with his obviously years of experience and talent and your talent and expertise at your own craft, what did you guys come to as far as looking at your project and going, this is what we want, this is the message we want out there?
Yeah.
What is that?
I would say that the biggest thing I took away from what we agreed on and what our goal was going into this this latest project was to wherever the music takes us is fine, as long as I am true to whatever it is that I'm singing about and feeling.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, that is what people can see through.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I 100% agree with that. I tell people all the time, when I hear a song, when I hear an artist, all I really want is to believe you. Whatever story you're telling, whether it's a story of joy, of heartbreak, of just going out and having fun, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just make me believe it. That's it. Yeah. And I think you have a knack of having this, and maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the West Virginia roots. Maybe it's, just that you're just naturally that talented. Maybe it's a combination of that and, the expertise of someone like Kevin Beamish, but you're really, really good. So that brings us now to the current single, Rub a Little Dirt on It. Now, here's the thing. That sounds like just a fun title, like a fun country title. It's like, oh, that sounds like any country title. It's like, yeah, it definitely belongs on a country radio. Rub a little dirt on it. That can't be anything but a country song.
Right.
But the song, I think, might actually subvert your expectations. You might think that you're just in for a run-of-the-mill country song about dirt, but it's not. Talk to us a little bit about the song. Did you write that, or was that one that you found?
No, see, that was a song that Kevin actually had the publishing rights to, but he was keeping it tucked away for what he felt was going to be the perfect time.
Yeah.
And to blend it with who he felt would be the perfect artist to take that song on. And it just so happened that it was me. And the song itself it came out at a time when the pandemic was bringing us all down, and they had just lifted the restrictions on everything, and so we felt that even more so than before the pandemic, it was more poignant to us to release this song, just to get everybody to like shake off all the cobwebs from what they had been experiencing for those last 8 or 9 months. And so, and that's kind of what this song is a representation of. And on a larger scale, it's about just getting out and being unbridled in your love and your excitement for life.
It really is. I think it captures the essence of like my friends who are like from my mother to my good friends, because my mother was a country girl. She was raised on a farm in Mississippi, many years ago, and she's always kind of had that sort of even though she moved away from Mississippi a long time ago, she's always had that sort of country joy. And like my friends are just, they can't wear shoes, they outside, they're never happy unless they're outside, like in the big spaces. Yep. And so when I heard the song the first time, I said, this is must be what that feels like. This is what they can't express. Yeah. When they have those moments when they're outside or just walking around with no shoes on, yeah. And I think that, Kevin was wise to just sort of go like, that's a good one. I'm just going to let that over here until the right one comes along. Because you got a great song. Rub a Little Dirt on It is the single. If you want to hear it, make sure you call us at Kicks 96. We'll be happy to play it for you. We've got it. Before I turn you loose, Chase.
You can call me Kevin.
I'll call you Kevin. Before I turn you loose, Chase, I've got one last West Virginia question to ask you. I put this one in my pocket, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to ask him this one. Maybe I'll ask him this one. And I'm going to ask you this one. All right. You are from West Virginia, born and raised.
Yes.
Do you have a Mothman story?
I do.
You do. He does. Okay. There's I got goosebumps. So I'm like, all right, West Virginia.
You know what's also cool about this is that I'm from the town where Mothman's from.
Yeah, I believe I did read that in your bio, and I was like, that's the same town. I'm not sure, but I think that's the same with the statue.
Yeah.
Where the tragic event on the bridge, which that is not exciting.
No.
But that is kind of where the Mothman first entered the public consciousness. The greatest. But he's been a staple of West Virginia folklore for a while. Yeah. Like well before that bridge.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, look up Mothman. I'm serious. It's some really groovy stuff. What's your Mothman story?
Well, I'm usually in a Mothman shirt. So,
really?
I'm surprised that you didn't catch me in one today. But in my hometown, we have, obviously that's what the town's known for, but we have vendors who just sell shirts, and they're just the coolest thing. But, so my Mothman story actually entails going to the TNT area where he was once believed to have basically harbored himself to keep away from other people. And the TNT means exactly what you think it means. It was a place where they stored explosives.
Dynamite.
In these igloos.
Okay.
And so me and a friend went there a couple years after Idol, actually, because we were just curious, and we'd heard all these stories when we were kids, but we wanted to know more about it. And there's actually some other conspiracy theories within that thread of Mothman that I won't get into because I'm a
whole rabbit hole.
Yeah,
you're welcome. By the way.
Right. I'm not a theorist about these things, but I can tell you what I experienced.
Okay.
And so when we went to what they call TNT, which is just filled with ponds and these igloos, which are out in the middle of nowhere, and you really have to walk to get there. It's not just like, oh, we'll pull off the side of the road and suddenly we're in the TNT igloo area. No, you have to get on foot and walk there a good distance. And surrounding these igloos are swamp-like bodies of water. So they're just like small island igloos out there. And so we would walk into these igloos, at least the one that we did, the door was open. And so we walked in, obviously we wanted to make some noise in there to create some echoes. And so we did that. And then we walked out of there. And then as we walked out, we heard this loud door sound like it was shutting, and yet there was no door even on the threshold of where there would have been a door. So we tucked our tails and we ran back to the car as fast as we could.
Yeah, but you didn't see Mothman.
Didn't see Mothman.
But he basically shut the door and was like, I'm trying to sleep. That's what he did.
I feel like it might have been, if the Mothman is no longer living, it could have been the ghost of Mothman. But even as recently as 2018 or 19, they said they saw him at the Sean O'Hare or not Sean O'Hare. That's a WWE wrestler.
Well,
O'Hare.
Yeah, there was I can't remember where it was, but I don't think it was in West Virginia.
It was Chicago.
It was Chicago. Yeah, it was Chicago. Was O'Hare Airport? Is that O'Hare?
Yeah.
Chicago O'Hare? Yeah. Because I think it was a pilot that had seen. Yeah, there have been Mothman sightings within the last 5 years. Yeah. So Mothman is still out there. And if you don't know who the Mothman is, you're welcome. That's one big rabbit hole. That's so much fun to go down. I thought you were going to tell me one of those stories that I get from West Virginia all the time. Where people were like, I was driving down a country road and then this thing was flying along with my car. And that would freak me out.
I'm not going to tell you a big fishing story like that.
See,
because I'd be lying. But I can tell you that, I think he's real. I really do. Mm-hmm. And pretty fortunate that I've been that close to something like that my whole life. But when I go out, I want him to take me out. I know that sounds weird, but
I don't think he's ever actually attacked anyone, though.
I don't think he has either. He's always been like an omen.
Yeah.
So he's been the symbol.
Bad things are about to happen, and then he shows up.
It's almost like he's archangel of sorts.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he shows up and he's like, something's about to go down.
He's a portent of doom because he appeared and all those people saw him just days before the bridge collapsed. Right. And he freaks people out, but I don't know that anybody has ever reported having been assaulted by the Mothman.
No, nobody.
That is our guest, Chase Likens. If you want to know more about the Mothman, go Google that. If you want to know more about Chase Likens, where do they find you on the internet?
You can find me at chaselikensofficial.com or any other variation thereof.
All right, chaselikens.com, and of course, all the socials. The single is Rub a Little Dirt on It. Make sure you call us at Kick 96. We're happy to play it for you. Look for a live performance from Chase elsewhere here on our YouTube channel. Chase, thanks for coming and visiting us.
Thanks for having me, Fletch.
And don't wait too long to come back and bring more Mothman stories if you've got them, whether they happen to you or somebody you know. That's fine. I'm always down for new Mothman. We'll see you next time on another artist video blog at Kicks96country.com.
Just get away somewhere off of that interstate. Take a little trip and find out how it feels when you rub a little dirt on it. When you rub a little dirt